Hello, sir, and welcome to etbfsi.com. My first question to you is that according to you, how smooth is the digital transaction of a BFSI sector?
Yeah, so there are three aspects to the digital transition of BFSI products and services: the front end modernization, the back end orchestration, and the end to end digitalization, right? So these are easy and difficult in the respective order of complexity, right? So starting from the front end, those are the easiest. But at the same time, the function of customer convenience is a direct function of the complexity of the back end or the orchestration of the back end systems. Now, coming to the middleware, right? Middleware where the orchestration happens, that is somewhat more complex and not so easy to do because it is talking to the new age systems, it is talking to the legacy systems as well. It is trying to bring in that kind or synthesize that kind of a digital experience to the front end. So I would say it is a most complex effort which goes in there. And the third part is the third layer is the underlying core systems, which are very hard to modernize. Now, having said that, in isolation they may not be so difficult to modernize, but then the way the digital experience or the front end experience is becoming paramount, which was not possibly thought maybe 20-30 years back. But then the underlying systems may not be ready and cannot be because it's a business as usual problem, right? Business as usual and a modernization problem, you have to have a trade-off in between them. So many a times it is all the digital transformation efforts, they kind of land up only with these two layers, which is the front end, which is the easiest to do perhaps, and the middleware and the underlying core banking systems, for example, they more or less remain the same unless the banks are new age banks which are born in cloud era, or which have systems which can be developed or enhanced in the cloud itself. So that is my take on it. So it's kind of easier on the front end, moderate to complex in the middleware layer, and slightly harder or more complex in the underlying core systems.
So, in the payment setup, how do you see the role of compliances and regulations?
The role of compliances is very, very essential, right? Any kind of a new endeavor or any kind of a new integration goes in through a compliance checklist, which will try to cover the integration or the new offering from a holistic perspective, and it will also take care of the the security parameters. It will take care of the threat parameters. A threat can be business threats as well. So because of which reason there are so many there's a multi-point checklist which goes into the compliance assessment of any solution, any product, or any kind of a asset which a BFSI company will try to procure or will try to orchestrate, right? So now, having said that, the way the BFSI industry is transitioning, it's a partnership model. So the fintechs who have come into the foray in last 7 to 8 years, which are born, most of them are born in the cloud era, right? And which are free from the legacy technology stack, and which have kind of different parameters altogether. But at the same time, when they have to integrate with the banks, right? Because all the banks want to give that kind of a digital experience, which we just spoken about a couple of minutes back. So that's where the compliance becomes even more challenging, because these two set of environments are completely different and having a completely different checks and balances which may be required to control the aggregation of these two entities or these two form factors. So I would say that the compliance is becoming even more pertinent and even more regulated, or even more required to actually protect the interests of the end customers who are having a lot of trust factor on the banks plus the fintechs plus any ecosystem partners, to give them that kind of a experience and the services with ease.
Okay, meaningful. Sir, now BFSI space is rolling out many digital products. So how do you see the customer adoptability of those products?
I believe customers are adopting the products very well, and of course the initial phase of adoption, or the initial challenges which any kind of adoption will have will be there, but then once tasted, the taste it remains forever. When the world opened up 1 year back after the lockdown, it was expected that maybe the volumes of digital transactions or footprint on, or the active users on the digital services will kind of come down, but it is not true, because that stickiness has been there and people have adopted very well the offerings which have been given by various entities in the BFSI sector. And now the enablers to that adoption is how easy you are making the front ends, how easy you are orchestrating the services, howsoever complex they may be. But then the customer experience is paramount to bring that kind of a stickiness or adoption. And there's one important aspect that since digital footprint is increasing, so is the consciousness of the security threats, right? So digital frauds or payment related incidents here and there, those kind of tend to shake up the adoption to some only a minute extent, I would say, because one or two incidents may happen here and there, because that's what I would say the profession of perpetrators is, right? They will look into the loopholes of the existing systems, and no system will have 100% foolproof, and it is so. We are just trying to make the effort of those perpetrators harder and harder by way of compliances, by having processes in place, by way of enabling technologies. And the summation of all these aspects is that to a large extent the adoption is no longer a challenge. Some inhibitions may be there, of course, but then we have control measures as a fraternity as a whole. So I don't think adoption is a challenge any longer.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.